This is the Diamond Hawgs Podcast with Mason Choate and Robert Stewart.
Welcome to the Diamond Hawgs Podcast. I'm your host, Mason Choate. As always, I'm joined by Robert Stewart. He's sitting right next to me. We're live at Baum-Walker Stadium, where Arkansas just lost to Eastern Illinois 12-3. Not a great game to end the series at all, whatsoever. We're going to talk about that, but we will also talk about the first two games, both of which Arkansas won. So those were good things. You know, good things happen this weekend. Bad things happen. You learned a little bit more about your team. You learned stuff about the bullpen for sure. You got some freshmen out there. There's a lot of good to take away from this weekend and a lot of bad. So we're going to talk about all that on today's episode of the Diamond Hawgs Podcast. Robert, I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Just say whatever you want.
Whatever I want. Wow. Man, this 30 seconds is ticking already. Normally I feel like you can't complain about a series win ever. But the vibes after the loss Sunday, just bad. The bullpen just didn't get it done. And, normally, again, my thing is give it some time. It'll work itself out. But, I don't know, 7 games in, I'm starting to be concerned that not more than 4 guys have proven themselves to be reliable. 4.5. That was the
4.5. So, it is. You don't want to overreact to early season stuff.
Of course not.
But you can only go off of what you've seen. And what we've seen is that Arkansas's bullpen, which is supposed to be the deepest Dave Van Horn has ever had, is struggling.
Crumbling under pressure.
Yeah. So we'll talk about all that. Before we do, I want to remind you, as always, about Matt Morris State Farm. We love Matt Morris State Farm. He helped us get to Arlington for the College Baseball Showdown. He was helping us last year during the postseason, especially when we went to Omaha. We get that coverage with State Farm, and it's because we get the great rates from guys like Matt Morris. He will help you get those great rates, save money. He'll give you a quote on your home insurance, your auto insurance, your life insurance, all of that. I'm telling you, I'm saying this as somebody who needs to save money. I save money with State Farm. So if you're paying for insurance and you're like, hey, this is just too much every month, go to State Farm. They'll give you a great quote. They'll give you, they just want to help you. They give you their time. They're very relatable. It's not like you're just talking to someone on the phone and they want to get you in and out, and they're not very nice. Like, the people at State Farm are nice, and Matt Morris is, he's a very, very good guy. So give him a call. It's 501-568-3222. Matt Morris State Farm, serving people not only in the central Arkansas area, but in all of Hog Country. So give him a call. Once again, that number is 501-568-3222. Matt Morris State Farm. Okay, so for those who are new to the Diamond Hawgs Podcast this year, I guess this is our second weekend recap so far for this season. Last year, our weekend recaps went kind of long, and we did it in the studio. And then in the postseason, we started recording from the ballparks, and we were like, well, heck, why don't we do that at Baum-Walker? So here we are at Baum-Walker recording live from Baum-Walker Stadium. And I don't know. I don't want these episodes to be as long as they were last year, Robert. So let's just kind of walk through it. We'll start with Friday, and we'll go through. For those who, missed some stuff, we were there covering them. Let's start with Friday. Hagen Smith, he's your ace,
Absolutely. Didn't get through 5 this time, so that was a little bit disappointing. I noticed that he was struggling with pitch count that day. I don't have my pitch count tracker in front of me from Friday, but one of the things with Hagen, I feel like he's really good at starting counts off with strikes, and that wasn't exactly the case on Friday. Had 2 runners on in the first, had to work around those. 2 runners on in the 5th. He let 2 guys get on with 2 outs. And that was the end of his outing. So shout out to Cody Adcock for saving him there. But, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts, 3 hits in 4 2/3 scoreless innings. It's hard to really complain about that, bottom line.
Yeah. So storylines going into this game, of course, Hagen Smith getting the start. You were excited about that, but no Peyton Stovall. Had the thumb injury.
Jammed thumb sliding into second against Grambling.
Correct. So Peyton Holt got the start, ended up getting 2 hits, drove in 2 runs. So he started at second, and then at first, Ben McLaughlin, he started at first, and then you saw Slavens move to third. And all that, happened because of the Stovall not being in at second. It was interesting to see that they decided to put McLaughlin at first, move Slavens to third, and not throw in a guy like Cali or Jones at third.
Right. I recall after the Grambling game, Dave Van Horn said something about, Jason Jones didn't really see the ball well today. Ben McLaughlin, I think, pinch hit in that game he did. He pinch hit for Jones. He did ground out in that pinch hitting appearance, but we've heard some pretty high praise about McLaughlin from Van Horn, so wasn't surprised to see the first baseman finally get a start. And they've expressed confidence in Brady Slavens playing third base, so and it worked out.
Yeah, I thought he did fine. I thought he did well. This was another game. He had a double, right? So
not in that game.
No, not on Friday.
He was 0 for 3 on Friday.
No, I'm looking at Fridays right now. Brady Slavens, 2 for 4.
Oh, we're talking about Slavens. I thought we were talking about Callie.
No.
Not, McLaughlin. Yeah, Slavens was 2 for 4.
He had another double in that game.
2 singles.
Oh, 2 singles?
Yeah.
Okay.
He took second base on a throw.
Oh, that's why I got mixed up. Okay. Anyways, Slavens, I think, talk about a guy seeing the ball well, though. Slavens, I think, he's as consistent of a hitter as Arkansas has. A guy who was consistent coming into the weekend, Jared Wegner, I feel like, he kind of had a down weekend. So
he did. He was only 3 for 11. I say only 3 for 11.
Yeah.
That's still a 273 average, but, after his first weekend in Texas, it's kind of hard to top that.
Yeah. But just, talking about the Friday game, Arkansas gets the run roll win in 7 innings, 13-2. You had the walk-off Kendall Diggs.
Yeah, a pair of 6-run innings. Like, they took it to him in the third, just station-to-station baseball. And then poor Jaleel Akbar, man, the third baseman, made a couple of errors. And then
we kept calling him Admiral Akbar from Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah? You big Star Wars guy?
Yeah.
No?
Not as much as you.
One of our colleagues is.
Huge Star Wars guy.
He works for a competitor, so we're not going to mention his name. The guy sucks, though. I hate him. Anyways.
We should just go down the hall and pull him aside.
Hey, I asked him if he wanted to come on, and he was like, nah, I'm not feeling it. So.
Anyway, like you said, Kendall Diggs sort of busting open things with, no more station-to-station baseball, walk-off home run rule. It's the second time he's hit a walk-off 3-run bomb in his career.
Is it not weird, though, to, call a walk? I mean, it is a walk-off. But
they walked off the field. They lost.
Yeah, but it's just
It's a different vibe when you win by 10 instead of you take the lead in the 9th.
Yeah, no. It's
later.
not like, he steps on home plate and they're pouring Gatorade on him or whatever.
Right.
But, no, it was fun. It's always fun to see any type of walk-off, even if it's, because you're run-ruling them in the 7th. But, so that's kind of what went down there. You look at the guys who were pitching. We've talked about Hagen Smith. They used Cody Adcock the right way in this game.
Yeah.
He just came in, got the out, faced a couple of batters, threw 9 pitches, called it a day.
Yeah, the comparison on Cody Adcock, and we'll get to this more when we talk about Sunday's game, but the comparison to we've heard of Adcock going around the press box right now is Ryan Kostyuk, right?
Yeah.
Very effective in short outing situations.
No, I think that after what they've seen from Adcock, and we'll talk about Sunday's performance, you don't want that guy out there for more than 2 or 3 outs now.
He can get you what you need, but don't stretch him past, like you said, 2, 3, 4 outs. It'll get dangerous. Anyway, Austin Ledbetter, two earned in an inning, and then Gage Wood with the shutout inning to cap things off in the 7th.
Gage Wood looked good. I hate it for Austin Ledbetter because, he's got this year to figure it out, and then next year
it's his time.
It's written. The story is written. He's winning the Golden Spikes. Speaking of Golden Spikes, let's move on from Friday. Let's talk about Saturday's game. They trusted Will McIntyre to go out there and, do it. Go out there and start the game. I thought he threw well.
Lo and behold, that's what he did.
I tweeted out, Will McIntyre Golden Spikes is back on.
Right.
It's a rough start.
The thing is, we know that that's not as well as he can throw, his performance on Saturday, but it's a step in the right direction after the previous 2. So
he got on pitching, Ninja.
He did against a guy who took him deep earlier in the game. So that was cool for him, I guess.
Yeah.
Started 6 up, 6 down, so that's, exactly what you want coming out of the gate. Again, 4 2/3, couldn't quite make it through the 5th, just like Smith the day before. 2 hits, earned run, 2 walks, 4 Ks. So,
yeah.
Like I said, step in the right direction.
This was another game, and so we talked about, the bullpen. You used Adcock right on Friday. Ledbetter, of course, he struggled a little bit, but Gage Wood did really well. You look at Saturday, Cody Frank's going to be really good for this baseball team.
And he's, unlike Cody Adcock, Cody Frank is a guy that's, going to be able to stretch it out.
Yeah.
Just like he told me on the last episode.
Yeah.
So.
Friend of the podcast, Cody Frank.
Mm-hmm.
And then Brady Tygart, of course. Can we say Brady Tygart's back? I think he's back.
Yes.
I think Brady Tygart.
It is worth noting that both Frank and Tygart gave up their first runs of the year, but that's going to happen from time to time. But let's see some ERA numbers.
You want to talk? You go ahead and do it.
I got the stats. I'm trying to pull them up.
Yeah.
Let's see. Frank with a 1.23 ERA, 0.82 WHIP through 7 1/3 so far.
Nice.
Brady Tygart, 4 2/3, 1.93 ERA, 0.86 WHIP. So both of them have sub-2 ERAs and sub-1 WHIPs. That's that'll play.
Yeah, no, that's the thing.
Especially if you can get like 3 innings combined from them in a single game.
Yeah, so we talked about the starters. Hunter Holland, Hagen Smith, I'll still throw Will McIntyre into that. Like these are the guys that you can trust. Brady Tygart, Cody Frank, those are the guys that you can trust out of the bullpen right now. You can't really say that about anybody else, right? I mean, like really. McIntyre. So when you talk about the 4.5, McIntyre's that half.
He's got to be.
And so that makes it Holland, Smith, Frank, and Tygart, and then half of a McIntyre.
And I think that half is going to transform into a whole. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, no, I'm not out on Will McIntyre.
Right.
You have your dramatic fans and whatnot. I'm not out on a lot of these guys.
Right.
I will say, and we'll get to Adcock, I know DVH likes Adcock, and I think that Adcock has the stuff, absolutely. They've just got to figure out this, how are we going to use him? Because I think that they wanted to use him in a longer role. They've even talked about starting him, and you mentioned the cost you thing. Like, I think you look at Adcock a little bit differently now. So,
right.
But I'm not Matt Hobbs, so, nor do I claim to know even a sliver of what Matt Hobbs knows about baseball and pitching.
Right.
So I'm just talking about from the outside looking in. But so
how
at
the offense on Saturday, can we?
No, I want you to talk about that because okay. I was having to focus on the basketball game.
You have basketball going on. Is there? I see you've got that box score up right there.
Yeah.
Is there something that tells you like 2-out statistics? Because that was the big story in my mind. Jared Wegner got on with a double with 2 outs in the first. Ended up scoring on a Brady Slavin single the other way. I can't remember what it was, but Dave Van Horn talked extensively about how Brady Slavin's approach going middle oppo is just it's working very, very well. You saw it again there in the first. Tavian Josenberger, 2-run, 2-out bomb, tying his season total from Kansas last year. Second homer of the year. And then Parker Rowland, how about a 2-out RBI double in the third to make it 4-1. And then I don't know, things sort of blew up again in the 7th and 8th. A lot more 2-out scoring going on. So, I mean, the bottom line is, if they can do that once, twice a weekend, you're gonna win series.
The 2-out hitting all weekend, or at least let's just say Friday, Saturday for Arkansas was great. I thought just situationally they were a great offensive team, and Dave Van Horn said it on Sunday. He was like, we performed well offensively this weekend, and they did. Except for the last 4 innings on Sunday. And we'll talk about that a little bit. Tavian Josenberger, you mentioned it. I mean, he's, I guess, probably him and Wegner, the two, and Slavins too. Like, there's good things. John Bolton. You want to talk about a guy who's hitting the ball well, John Bolton.
You know what's crazy is that we haven't even mentioned Jace Boroffin's name.
Yeah.
He reached base all 4 times Friday, 1 for 1 with a run, 2 walks, got plunked, and then 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs, 2 doubles, 2 runs, another walk on Saturday. And then on Sunday.
Yeah, he hit a tank on Sunday. So here's the thing about the Boroffin home run on Sunday. TrackMan said 379. I think everybody agrees that's not true.
I mean, like,
there's no way.
Going off of the launch angle, like 34, that's pretty high.
No, it was a moonshot. There's no way it was 379. I think the TrackMan just stopped tracking it.
That is probably a possible situation.
Which is tough when we're relying on this system to provide us with accurate information, but Saturday you get the series win. That was the big thing.
And there was depth production too. I forgot to mention. I said Parker Rowland had the double RBI double, but he and Ben McLaughlin both had 2 RBIs in that game.
McLaughlin got hurt, though, is what
McLaughlin did get hurt.
So talk about that, because I wasn't watching at that point. I didn't. I don't want to speak on something that I wasn't paying attention to.
I didn't see the injury happen. All I know is that McLaughlin picked up an RBI knock in the 8th, was at first base, and then came off the field. Reese Robinette pinch ran for him. So I can't remember exactly what Dave Van Horn said. I believe he addressed it in Saturday's post-game press conference, but we did not see him Sunday. We saw Reese Robinette start at third base instead, which, after we get to Sunday's game, we'll talk about Jason Jones and Caleb Cali, because that's an interesting development at the hot corner, I think. Yeah, but I mean, like I said earlier, Dave Van Horn loves him some Ben McLaughlin, and I think on Saturday he explained why with his performance.
Here's the quote from Dave Van Horn about McLaughlin after Saturday's game. "We don't know yet. Doctors have looked at it. They don't think it's major yet, but if he's sore or swelled up in the morning, I think is the word they use, then we'll probably get an MRI on it. If not, might just be a little bit of a pull."
So next time we talk to Dave Van Horn, we should get clarification on that.
Yeah.
It was not the vibes to ask about that.
No.
After Sunday's game.
No. So Sunday's game, let's get into it. Hunter Holland, the first inning, threw 30 pitches, and it just really felt like he didn't have it. Like you were looking at him, he couldn't keep the ball, within the strike zone. He was either way outside or he was just coming inside, up and in on the guys, and it's just like you could tell he was visibly frustrated. He ends up getting out of the inning, and then he does really well after that until the fifth. Was it the 5th or the 6th that he got pulled? He threw 5 2/3, right?
Yeah.
So it was the 6th.
That was the longest start by a Razorback pitcher this year.
Yeah.
Which was noteworthy. Like you said, the 30 pitches. I mean, he looked shaky, and we've been coming to all the scrimmages. We've never seen that from Holland before.
And Dave said that. He was like,
right.
That's something that we have not seen from this guy, is him have to, I guess, battle mentally with himself.
Right.
And
he doesn't create jams for himself,
No.
really. And like you said, that's really what we saw over the next 5 innings. He there was an infield single there in the 3rd to lead it off, and then that double play, the weird Jace Borfin catch.
Yeah.
And I don't think the guy left first base early, but that was the call
real,
on the field. And
real time,
overturn.
I did. Like, real time, I was adamant, like, this dude, he did not tag up.
Well, clearly so were the Razorbacks and the umpires.
Well, I think that after review, everybody who wasn't an umpire thought that he did tag up, and he was sick, but whatever.
Anyway, bottom line, double play. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, he faces the minimum. He gets the first 2 guys in the 6th, and then Cole Gober sort of just breaks things open for Eastern Illinois with a solo shot.
Yep.
A couple of singles after that, Holland's done, but Cody Adcock once again comes in, gets you the 1 out you need, and you're still winning that game 3-2.
They were up 3-2 at that point, correct. And then Adcock comes back out the next inning, and they put up a 4 spot on him.
That was tough to stomach.
Back-to-back homers as well.
Let's see, where's...
It was like, and I know for sure one of the homers was on an 0-2 count.
Yeah, so there's the single, the double at the top of the order, and then Ryan Ignofo comes up. He's down 0-2.
This is in the 7th inning.
There's a breaking ball on the edge of the strike zone. So it wasn't really a terrible pitch, but 1-2 count to Gober, who has already gone deep in this game. I mean, that was the definition of a hanging breaking ball. It was middle, 70-something miles an hour, and he deposits it into the hog pen.
Yeah, so that was tough to see. Made
it 6-3?
That made it...
the second homer? Gober in the 7th?
I don't know. Because they were...
We're going to go with 6-3.
They were down, because they were down 3-2, so yes, 6-3. And then, of course, you had Zach Morris come out, and goodness gracious, Zach Morris, what is going on, man?
This was one of the things that we wrote about on HawgBeat.com. We talked about it on the message board a lot. He didn't have it in the offseason. He just didn't. And I didn't think much of it because he's faced his own guys a million times.
Seems like a lights-on guy.
Right.
And it has not translated to start the season. Yeah, I mean, he threw well. he threw well his one outing, right, against TCU at the college baseball showdown. But even then, he still gave up like 3 runs.
That's
two or
true.
3 runs.
He settled things down, and then when he hit the wall, he was charged with 2 inherited runs. Yeah. Zach Morris on the year, 13.5 ERA.
No, he only got recorded 1 out on Sunday, and then of course Gage Wood comes in. It was another situation for Gage Wood where it's just
Can't find the strike zone.
He can't find the strike zone. I mean, he's got the nerves, man. I don't know what it is. They got to figure out something to calm him down. Dave Van Horn said it himself. Like
he's going to run out of opportunities.
Yeah, only a limited amount of opportunities for Wood, who I think they think is their best freshman.
Right. I mean, that's the thing is like we know that he's capable of throwing, really hard for someone his age, throwing the ball 94, 95. I think we've seen him throw 96.
Yeah.
But you heard in the post game he's only throwing 91, 92. And, when you have such a dominant fastball, you can't lose the velocity like that, especially if you can't hit the strike zone.
Yeah. Then Parker Coyle comes in. 4 runs crossed with Coyle throwing, but only one of them was charged to him, and it was unearned.
Yes.
So,
RBI knock, RBI walk, pass ball.
Yeah. So that was also tough to see. Cooper Dossett, though, he did okay.
The only pitcher to throw for Arkansas on Sunday without giving up an earned run.
Yeah, so like that, if you want to talk about
without giving up a run.
I want to say though, like Eastern Illinois had probably given up by that point. They were like, let's just go up there, swing the bats, call it a day. And then the big thing, Arkansas doesn't have. Let's see, they had 1 hit across the final 4 innings of the game. That was it, and it was a Tavian Josenberger single in the bottom of the 8th.
1 out single. Oh man, that was tough. We talked about Wegner not. Producing as much as he did last weekend, but he hit the ball hard on Sunday.
A lot of Razorback players, Robinette had that one to the wall that just got robbed.
That was an incredible catch to lead off the 7th inning.
Yeah.
And that was after Kai Matthews Hampton had already thrown 6. Like, that would have been a great opportunity to, it was 6-3. You could have gotten back in the game at that point if that ball falls. But, sometimes that's just the way it goes. You got to tip your cap to the fielder. That's baseball. But like you said, the Josenberger single in the 8th, Stovall did a job to move him to scoring position. Wegner lines out to center. Yeah. I don't know if it was that one or his other line out to center, but he hit it like 103 or 110 miles an hour off the bat. He's hitting the ball hard.
Yeah. No, I thought a lot of the Arkansas lineup hit the ball hard. Josenberger, the only one with multiple hits. Only 3 players with a hit in the game on Sunday: Josenberger, Borf, and Bolton.
Shout out to John Bolton with the RBI double. Yeah, that 5th inning with the RBI double was the only inning Arkansas had multiple hits in. Which, I don't care who you're playing, that's not gonna play.
Got out hit by 10 on Sunday. Just didn't work.
6 1-2-3 innings for Arkansas.
6 of them. I wrote something else in my story that I thought was noteworthy. This one's yours.
They made 2 errors, too. The Hogs did.
Went down in order in 6 innings, and it saw 10 or less pitches in 5 innings. You can't do that, man. Not against a pitching staff like Eastern Illinois. You just can't. That can't happen. So
gotta flex your SEC muscles.
The good thing, though, for Arkansas, you get the series win. You learn some things about your team. Some good, some bad.
Right.
And what do they have to figure out moving forward? You got to figure out the bullpen first and foremost. You got to figure out third base. Who the heck's going to play third base? And I asked Dave Van Horn, and you can comment on this after I say this. I asked Dave Van Horn this after the game. I asked him, how do you assess your catcher position? Because I feel like, he said that both of them are going to play, but, I think it might be Roland's job.
Polk is certainly not getting it done at the plate.
And the thing that he was able to hang his hat on was defensive play, and I felt like there were multiple instances on Sunday where I feel like he made a mistake. And I'm thinking about that inning. I can't remember the inning where they had the bunts, and you had the issue where Zach Morris didn't cover third. It's like nobody knew what was going on with those little infield hits, and I just somebody needs to step up. I don't know. It's probably not Polk's fault. I'm just.
I was gonna chime in on this. It's worth noting. You remember Van Horn's comments about how the pitch clock takes away from your ability to put defenses on.
Yeah.
That could have had something to do with that.
Potentially.
But yeah, again, the pass ball, in not that the game was in hand at that point, but pass balls just don't work.
No, you can't have those. You definitely cannot have those.
And it doesn't help that he's 1 for 12 at the plate. Like, the home run in Texas was cool, but he doesn't have any other hits to show for it this year.
Yeah. No, Roland's your guy at the plate for sure. Right now.
Roland has 5 RBIs this year. So
That's crazy.
that's not something that I had on my bingo card.
No. No.
But he certainly got it done on Saturday. And again, love me a switch hitter. So
Yeah.
if Roland can prove to be consistent at the plate, then.
All right, let's go to weekend MVPs, Robert. Before we do, Matt Morris, State Farm, is who you want to talk to when you're trying to get those great rates on your insurance, not just car insurance, but he also does the home insurance and the life insurance. So if you're trying to save money on these things that are going to protect you, you want to make sure you're talking to the right people and getting the right prices. And to get that, you need to call Matt Morris, State Farm. He's not just in the Central Arkansas area. He helps everybody in Hog Country. He's a U of A alum. He loves Razorback baseball, and he's not going to treat you like you're just another number or another person or just another piece of paper. Like, he's going to build that relationship with you, get you the good prices, and get you covered on your home, auto, and life insurance. The number is 501-568-3222, 501-568-3222, Matt Morris, State Farm. Weekend MVPs, Robert. I'll let you go first. I think I went first last weekend.
I think that's a good choice. I have to take the obvious route here and go with Jace Borfin. Hit
the Borfalorian.
556 over the weekend, 5 for 9, drove in 3 runs, scored 4 times. He walked 3 times to 1 strikeout. So that's a great ratio there. Appears that he stole a couple bases too.
Yeah. Good weekend from Jace Borf.
Yeah,
Borf.
Right. 692 OBP, OPS of 1,800 in 3 games. So that stats speak for themselves there.
All those numbers sound good to me. He also had that play on Sunday where he just completely overran the ball and then just like stuck his arm back out and caught it, and we all thought he dropped it. This is the one we were talking about earlier where the double play. So yeah, no, good choice with Borfin. I'm gonna go with our guy, Tavian Josenberger.
That is the natural other choice.
He just gets on base. He had 6 hits, scored 4 runs, 3 RBI, had the home run, already tied his amount of home runs that he had last year, struck out just once. Is it true that he didn't walk all weekend?
I will double check.
Double check that for me, because he might not have. He definitely didn't on Friday.
No bases on balls.
Okay. Well, he still got on base.
Yeah, I was about to say 429 is still a pretty good clip there for your leadoff guy. So
yeah, no, I mean, I'll take it all day, and yeah, I like Tavian Josenberger. I think he's hitting the ball better than people expected, and he's got that power that people definitely didn't expect. Right. So give me Tavian Josenberger.
That's a good choice.
All right.
Good choice.
MVP on the mound, Mr. Stewart.
Whew. How about Will McIntyre?
Willie Mack.
Just for the
Big
bounce
Mac.
back performance. I think that's going to do wonders for his confidence.
Yeah.
You need to, like we said earlier, he's the half and the 4.5 right now, and he's on his way to blossoming into the 5th pitcher that they can truly trust. So, if we're talking about most valuable player, I think that was the most valuable performance from any individual pitcher, and in terms of the long run. So, give me Will McIntyre for that one.
This is a tough one. I want to take Hagen Smith because Hagen Smith did well, got the job done, didn't give up any runs, struck out 6.
It's too bad that the game got out of hand Sunday, because Hunter Holland would be a great choice.
I was thinking about Hunter Holland. It's just the way the game ended. I can't do it.
Yeah,
Cody Frank. I want to say Cody Frank as well. I think I'm going to go Hagen Smith though. Goes 4 2/3, gives up 3 hits, no runs, walked 3, struck out 6. He's just so far through 2 outings reliable, playing the part of the ace, getting the job done, and I think that's a big thing, especially given the injury to Jackson Wiggins so close to the start of the season, for Hagen Smith to step up these first 2 outings on Friday night and to deal Good for
Right.
him.
Sub 1 whip, 0 ERA, and 9 2/3 so far. So, and 14 Ks to 5 walks.
That's good.
All good numbers.
That is
I like
good.
them.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap us up. Like we said, we don't want to go super long with these like we did last year. We got to get people on their way. So, Wednesday, Illinois State, a good Illinois State team coming to town for a 3 p.m. first pitch. It's going to be right behind us at Baum-Walker Stadium. And then over the weekend, you got Wright State coming to town. A good Wright State team.
Scrappy little Wright State.
Made a regional last year. Made a little bit of noise in the regional. They didn't get a win, but they scored some runs at the Blacksburg. I think it's Blacksburg.
Yeah.
Virginia Tech Regional.
Yeah.
So, it's a tough non-conference, man. EIU was a good team. They were projected to finish in the middle of their conference.
Hey, the Hogs learned their lesson from an RPI standpoint last year,
Yeah.
right? Not gonna have you cost. The RPI can't cost you a chance to host another regional. So,
Nope.
Make the games tough, and again, they're still experimental. So, 2 more weekends to figure out the bullpen woes before Auburn comes to town?
I just want to put this out there. I don't think there's any reason to worry about anything just yet, other than the bullpen stuff, because with it, realistically, Dave Van Horn has done this for the second year in a row to himself. And you want to trust the guy, and I think that we all believed it at the time.
I mean, he's been at it for 21 years.
Yeah, no, there was something to him saying that this is the deepest bullpen or pitching staff that he's ever had. It still very well could be. It's just the start is unfortunate given that statement.
Right.
So,
I mean, it seems like he always has one cursed preseason statement every year. And
it's just unfortunate
so
for
far,
him that the spotlight is on him and everybody's going to take every little piece of information that he says and break it down and criticize it. So,
right.
Luckily, we don't have enough people listening to our podcast that somebody's going to do that to us, because I know for a fact that I've said a lot of stupid stuff. You definitely have. You said way more stupid stuff than I have. So
I read numbers.
You do read numbers. You get them wrong. You got stuff wrong on this podcast already.
What, because we were talking about the wrong guy?
Yeah.
Different guys?
Maybe you should have been listening. Anyways, we'll talk to everybody on Friday. Plan on having Hunter Holland on. We'll see how that goes. But appreciate you listening to the Diamond Hawgs Podcast. Make sure you tell your friends about us. Click the thumbs up. Click subscribe if you're watching on the YouTube. Give us a rating on Apple. And visit HawgBeat.com, HawgBeat.com, for the best Arkansas athletics coverage out there. Thanks.
The Diamond Hawgs Podcast is the premier Razorback baseball podcast.